So let me ask you, chat. With all of your infinite chat-related wisdom, we'll at least have a conversation topic, chat. We're going to definitely do that. Because I need to ask your opinion. So, chat, let me ask. You see that guy Merlin sitting there in the center of the screen? Do you see Merlin sitting there, staring at you in the face? What I gotta ask you, chat, is... now that Koyanskaya's out, is Merlin useless? Is Merlin useless now? Okay, I got Vice saying Merlin's not useless, but Tammy has the hit hard and fast department under her. No, Merlin, you are not banning people for that. Fairy, no, Merlin is good for long fights like Challenge Quest. Start decisive. I don't think any servant is useless. Nah, not at all. Just like how Castoria didn't kill off Tamamo, they all fit different roles. Chat, listen. You're right. You're absolutely 100% right. Good job. Give yourself a round of applause. This is absolutely correct. Merlin's not useless. Merlin is not by any stretch of the imagination useless right now. I mean, what is Koyanskaya's, like, her niche? What is she designed to do right now? It's for Buster farming. And specifically for Buster farming. I mean, you've got Innovator Bunny charging the NP gauge and reducing skill cooldown. That's how that 50% charge loop is going to work. You've got Aptitude for Slaughter, which increases damage against human and man, and more importantly, charges the NP gauge when normal attacking with Buster cards. That charging NP gauge, a buff that Musaki from Chaldea Gurus and I have been routinely saying Merlin should have gotten, which showed up on a brand new servant. So I'm gonna just say we get a W for that, for figuring that out. And then, of course, the critical damage, critical star absorption, and Buster performance boost from NFF Special. This is all designed for looping. This is all designed for farming. I'm sure you can tell from that, as well as her Noble Phantasm, there is absolutely nothing in here that is set for the survival of my Buster units. If my Buster unit doesn't have a survival mechanism in their arsenal, they are just getting wiped out. And then Koyanskaya, even if you have two of them, isn't going to do much. Merlin, however, doesn't have the opportunity to loop, but he's got that invincibility. He's got that critical attack reduction, which is way better than you might think. He's got that max HP boost, and he actually has that recover HP every single turn while charging NP gauge, affecting Merlin as well. So Merlin, designed for the long form fights. Koyanskaya, designed for the short farming fights. And I really do believe this is the way it should be, and this is the way it has to be going forward. I think we can all agree that Quick needs something like that. Quick definitely needs something like that. Art sort of has that right now in the form of Tamamo, but she does need some tweaking in order to fully realize that. Vice says, dude, I hate those guys that say X is dead every time we get a new meta guy or gal. I do think half of them are like trolling. Why can't we just live with the mentality it's better for servants to work side by side instead of just yada yada is dead because X? I do think some of that is definitely trolling, but I do think, I mean, when you come into the average meta mentality for a gacha game, like when new characters come out, they do, more often than not, in a lot of other gachas, make a ton of the old characters obsolete. This is kind of where I think FGO wins in that regard, because you truly can pull one of your favorites and make them viable. Sure, you might need top quality supports, but it's not like other gacha games where, hey, the new flavor of the next 7, 8, 9 months came out, so now the person who was that is now useless. No, that person still has a role to play. A says, but now I worry Merlin won't ever get a buff with two new big Buster support units back to back. That is true. Oberon does definitely have a role to play. But from what I've seen with how people have been running Oberon on JP, Oberon seems like more of an additional supplement to Koyanskaya. The way it seems like people are using Oberon is he is there to make your third and final wave especially splashy, which you might want to be a little bit wary of that, because if we're releasing a servant designed to make the third and final wave especially splashy, well, I think that means that we might have some very strong third waves coming. But I really do believe that there is still potential for a Merlin buff. What form that buff could take, I honestly don't know at this point, because, well, Koyanskaya got the thing I thought Merlin was going to get. So what can we give Merlin in order to hit that Koyanskaya potential? I don't know. But it needs to be more down that side path, that side niche where he is focused on the challenge quest and Koyanskaya is focused on the farming. If we end up getting too much of the same, like just, well, let's give Merlin what Koyanskaya has in order to try and bring him back up, that's not going to work. That's just going to not only make Merlin's buff feel cheap if and when he ever does get one, but that's going to devalue Koyanskaya on top of that. I don't think that would be a good idea. But I would like to see them bringing in more of those meta shifts and buffing older servants. I mean, we did hear some conversation on that PvP and battle system changes video I was talking about. There has been conversation about giving servants multiple noble phantasms. So I think that might be the route they're going for, especially when it comes to supporters and all that. I think that could be a very, very good idea. Dark Decisive says 50% NP charge on hero creation. Nah, that's too similar to what Koyanskaya and Oberon do. That's not something we can give. Or maybe give hero creation NP gain up or something like that. Nah, I don't really think NP gain is the route to go. I kind of like where Egg's going. Give Merlin a better heal, a star drop rate improvement, something more related to crit, maybe even something related to Star Gather. I mean, we've got Merlin already increasing Buster Card effectiveness and increasing critical strength. Maybe let's have Merlin increase Buster Card critical Star Gather. That could definitely fit in his niche, and that would be a powerful improvement. Maybe we could go ahead and attach an additional heal to Merlin's very first skill. Not as potent as his Noble Phantasm, but it is definitely stackable. Oh, okay, Darth Decisive meant a higher charge level like Kama. So an NP overcharge addition to Merlin's Buster, I think that could be a very, very good idea. I think some people might be a little salty because they're not getting NP damage overcharge bonuses from Koyanskaya and Oberon, but Koyanskaya and Oberon have more than proven that they are more than enough to take something out. I do think that is actually a very good idea as well. An NP overcharge bonus tacked onto Merlin's hero creation would be very, very good for some single target buster damage dealers. Eggalter also recommends a 3-round defense buff on his invincible skill. Yes, have that proc after the invincibility wears off and give me 3 turns of defense up and damage cut. I'll totally take that. I will totally take that any day of the week. But y'all are right in the headspace. You're in the correct headspace there in the chat. We need to give Merlin something different, something divergent, something focused in the challenge quest and boss fight field. Koyanskaya can keep farming. That's fine. She can be our farming supporter. But outside of farming, we can go ahead and give that to Merlin. Outside of farming, we can give quick to somebody other than Scotty. Outside of farming, we can hand that over to Tamamo and everything will be fine. Having 6 supporters instead of 3 supporters, with 3 of them designed for farming and 3 of them designed for actual fighting bosses and clearing lost belts and doing challenge quests and all that, I think that's probably the healthiest direction FGO can go in. An even healthier direction if we end up focusing on older servants and bringing them back up to par.